Feel the air entering your lungs, expanding your chest, and softly leaving your body. Let this moment be an invitation to slow down, to arrive fully here. You don't need to fix anything or force anything right now. Just breathe and allow yourself to be. As you settle into stillness, begin to notice the subtle sensations within you, the tension in your shoulders, the heaviness in your chest, the quiet ache behind the heart. These are not signs of weakness. They are gentle reminders that something inside you is asking to be seen, asking to be released. We often move through life carrying invisible burdens, old memories, unspoken words, and unresolved emotions. They stay with us like shadows, influencing how we feel, how we react, and how we connect. Forgiveness begins not with forgetting or pretending the pain didn't happen, but with acknowledging that it did. To forgive, we must first look within and recognize the pain we've been holding. This is not a journey of blame, it is a journey of awareness. As you breathe, allow your awareness to drift toward any lingering pain you might be carrying. Maybe it's from someone who hurt you, or perhaps it's disappointment in yourself. Whatever it is, invite it to the surface, not to relive it, but to understand it. Imagine holding that feeling in your hands with compassion, as if it were a small child who has been waiting for your attention. You don't need to analyze it, just notice its presence. Allow it to be seen, allow it to breathe. Every emotion carries a message. Anger asks to be heard, sadness asks to be felt, resentment asks to be released. When we deny these emotions, we trap them inside, and they grow heavier over time. But when we bring them into awareness with kindness, they begin to soften. Awareness is the light that dissolves darkness. It doesn't happen through struggle, it happens through presence. So, as you sit here, breathe in awareness and exhale acceptance. You are safe to feel. You are safe to heal. Now, bring to mind a person, memory, or situation that still holds emotional weight in your heart. Don't force anything. Just allow whatever naturally comes up to appear. You might feel resistance, and that's okay. Resistance is simply the mind's way of protecting what it believes it needs to survive. Thank that resistance for doing its job, and let it know that it's safe to rest now. You are ready to move beyond the story. You are ready to create space for peace. Imagine this memory, this emotion as energy, dense and heavy, sitting in your heart. With each breath, you begin to see it more clearly. It's not who you are, it's something you've been carrying. Feel its weight, feel its texture. You don't need to name it or define it. Just recognize that it's there. Awareness alone begins the healing process. When you look directly at your pain with compassion, it starts to lose its grip. The heart, once acknowledged, always knows how to heal itself. There's a moment, subtle yet powerful, when awareness turns into release. It doesn't come from forcing yourself to let go. It comes from seeing clearly that holding on no longer serves you. Imagine your heart as a river. The water may have been blocked for a long time by stones of anger, regret, or sadness. As you shine the light of awareness on each stone, you realize you can begin to lift them out, one by one. The river doesn't fight. It simply flows when it is free. Let your heart begin to flow again. Notice how your breath deepens as your awareness grows. Every breath is an act of permission. Permission to feel, permission to heal, permission to return home to yourself. You may feel sensations moving through your body, warmth, tingling, even tears. Allow them. These are signs that energy is shifting. Healing is not a thought, it is a feeling. It happens in the silence between words, in the spaces between breaths. Now, silently repeat to yourself, if I am aware of my pain, and I choose to meet it with love. Feel the truth of those words in your heart. You are not your past. You are not your wounds. You are the awareness observing them, the witness behind every experience. Within that awareness lies infinite compassion, infinite peace. Forgiveness begins here, in this gentle recognition of what has been and the quiet willingness to see it differently. As you sit in this moment, feel gratitude for your courage to look within. Awareness requires bravery. It asks you to face what you once avoided and to do so with love, You are already healing simply by choosing to be present. Nothing more is needed. Breathe into that truth. Let it anchor you. Let it soothe you. And as the breath flows effortlessly in and out, feel the lightness beginning to grow inside you. The weight you've carried begins to loosen. The heart begins to open. You have acknowledged what needed to be seen, and in doing so, you have taken the first step toward forgiveness and peace. As now, allow yourself to rest in this awareness, the space where healing truly begins. Take another slow, deep breath and allow it to travel deep into your being. Feel the gentle rise and fall of your body as the air moves in and out. With each breath, your awareness expands a little more. You begin to sense that within this stillness, there is a quiet intelligence, a wisdom that knows the way toward peace. Forgiveness is a doorway to that peace. But before we can walk through it, we must understand what it truly means. Many people mistake forgiveness for approval. They believe that to forgive is to say that what happened was acceptable or that it didn't hurt. But forgiveness has nothing to do with denying your pain. It has everything to do with releasing your attachment to it. Forgiveness is not a transaction between two people. It is an act of liberation within yourself. It is the decision to stop carrying the burden of someone else's actions. It is the realization that peace is more valuable than the illusion of control. Think for a moment about what happens when you hold on to anger or resentment. The mind replays the story again and again, searching for justice, for understanding, for closure. Yet in that repetition, the pain deepens. The more you resist what happened, the tighter it grips you. The energy of anger doesn't punish the person who hurt you, it punishes the one who holds it. When you withhold forgiveness, you remain bound to the very thing you wish to be free from. You carry the weight of someone else's actions long after the moment has passed. Forgiveness is not about forgetting. It's about remembering without being chained. It's about reclaiming your power from the past and saying, "This no longer defines me." You are not erasing the memory, you are transforming your relationship with it. When you forgive, you change your inner state. You reclaim the energy that was trapped in bitterness and transform it into freedom. That is the alchemy of forgiveness. Take another gentle breath. Let the exhale soften your heart. Feel your chest expand as you breathe in, as if creating space inside for something new to enter. Forgiveness does not need to be rushed. It unfolds at the pace of your readiness. Sometimes it comes as a whisper, a quiet shift within the heart that says, "I'm tired of holding on." Other times it arrives slowly through tears, through silence, through surrender. There is no right way, only your way. Now imagine standing the light of your awareness, holding the memory of the hurt before you. You can see the pain, but you are no longer lost inside it. Between you and that memory, there is space. In that space lies your freedom. Breathe into that space. Let it expand with every inhale. Notice how the sharp edges of the story begin to soften. You are no longer the victim, you are the observer. You are the one who chooses what stays and what goes. Forgiveness begins with understanding. When you look closely, you may see that the person who caused your pain was also acting out of their own suffering, their own ignorance, their own fear. This does not excuse their actions, but it helps you see the shared human experience underneath it all. Every act of hurt is a reflection of pain unhealed. Every wound inflicted on another comes from a wound within. When you understand this, your anger begins to melt into compassion, not because they deserve it, but because you deserve peace. There is a power in compassion that dissolves bitterness. It doesn't mean you have to trust again or even reconnect. Forgiveness doesn't always rebuild bridges. Sometimes it simply allows you to walk away without carrying the debris. It is a silent prayer that says, "May you find healing and may I find peace." It is the realization that holding on to resentment does not keep you safe. It keeps you stuck. When you let go, you do not lose, you return to yourself. Now take a deep breath, and as you exhale, imagine releasing a small part of the weight you've carried. You don't need to let it all go at once. Healing is gentle. It happens in layers. Every breath, every act of awareness, every whisper of willingness is part of the unfolding. Forgiveness is not a single act, it is a practice. Each time you remember the story and choose peace instead of pain, you are forgiving again. Notice the stillness growing inside you. The heart begins to open. The body feels lighter. The mind begins to quiet. This is the essence of forgiveness. It returns you to the natural state of your being, which is peace. It is not something you need to learn, it is something you remember. Beneath the layers of hurt and fear, peace was always there, waiting patiently for your return. Forgiveness is love in its purest form. It is love that asks for nothing, that seeks no reward, that simply frees. When you forgive, you align with that love. You become the space through which healing flows, not just for yourself, but for the collective heart of humanity. Take one last deep breath and let the exhale carry with it whatever no longer serves you. Feel the spaciousness that remains, the stillness, the relief, the lightness of being. Forgiveness has begun its work within you, quietly and profoundly, like sunlight melting the last traces of shadow. And in this moment, as you rest in awareness, know that peace has already started to return home to you. Take a deep breath, and as you exhale, feel yourself gently releasing the tension that no longer serves you. Allow the rhythm of your breath to become softer, calmer, more natural. With every inhale, you invite light into your being, and with every exhale, you let go of the past. Forgiveness, at its core, is an act of letting go. It is a conscious choice to stop carrying what was never meant to be carried forever. The past is a teacher, not a prison. Yet so often, we become trapped in its walls, replaying old scenes, reliving old hurts, as if somehow, through repetition, the story will change. But the story has already been written. What remains within your power is the meaning you give it and the freedom you allow yourself to feel. When you hold on to the past, it begins to shape your present. It colors the way you see yourself, others, and even life itself. Every unhealed wound becomes a lens through which you interpret new experiences. You might find yourself reacting not to the moment at hand, but to echoes of something that happened long ago. Letting go does not mean erasing what happened. It means no longer allowing it to control your energy. It means saying, I am ready to reclaim my peace. As you sit in this awareness, imagine the past as a series of scenes projected on a screen before you. Each image represents a memory, a moment that once felt heavy. See them clearly, but from a distance. You are not inside them anymore. You are observing them with compassion. Some memories may bring tears, others anger, and some only silence. Whatever arises, allow it. You are mixing the remnants of energy that have been waiting to be acknowledged. There is no need to push them away. There is no need to fix anything. Simply allow them to move through your awareness like clouds drifting across the vast sky of your consciousness. Now, with a gentle intention, begin to see those memories slowly fading, dissolving into light. They do not disappear because they are denied, but because they have fulfilled their purpose. The lesson has been received, and the energy can now transform. Letting go is not forgetting, it is remembering differently. It is choosing to see your pain as a stepping stone toward wisdom. Every moment that broke you open was also guiding you closer to yourself. Sometimes the mind resists letting go because it believes that holding on protects you. It thinks that by replaying the pain, it can prevent it from happening again. But the truth is, holding on keeps you bound to the vibration of that pain. It keeps your energy tied to something that no longer exists. Freedom comes not from control but from surrender. When you surrender, you do not give up, you give over. You release your grip on the story so that life can move through you once more. Take another deep breath and imagine your heart as a river. The water has been blocked by stones of resentment, guilt, and regret. You have been sitting beside this river for a long time, trying to understand why the water does not flow. Now, one by one, begin to lift those stones. See yourself placing them gently on the shore. Feel the water begin to move again, slowly at first, then with more strength, more grace. This is the natural rhythm of your being, flowing, alive, free. The river does not cling to what has passed, it carries everything forward. Let your heart do the same. In the silence that follows release, something beautiful begins to emerge. You start to feel lighter, clearer, more open. You notice that the energy you once used to hold on to pain is now available for creation, for love, for peace. Letting go creates space for new beginnings. It invites life to fill you with experiences that resonate with who you are now, not who you were then. If a part of you still resists, remind yourself gently it is safe to let go. You do not need the pain to remember the lesson. You do not need the past to validate your strength. You have already learned, already grown, already healed more than you realize. The energy of the past has completed its cycle. Now it's time to step into the new vibration of freedom. Letting go is an act of trust. Trust in life, in yourself, in the unfolding of things beyond your control. The universe does not dwell in what was, it only knows what is. And what is right now is your breath, your awareness, your choice to be free. Take one last deep breath in and exhale slowly. Feel the release. Feel the space that now exists within you. That space is not emptiness, it is peace. It is the quiet after the storm, the stillness after the struggle. This is the moment when you realize that you never needed to hold on, you only needed to remember who you are beyond the story. Now, rest in this truth. You are free and peace is already within you, waiting only for your acceptance. Take a slow, deep breath and feel the gentle rhythm of life moving through you. With every inhale, your heart expands just a little more, and with every exhale, you release the old layers that once kept it closed. Forgiveness is not complete without compassion. True healing begins when the heart remembers its natural ability to love, even after being hurt. Compassion is not about approving or excusing the actions that caused pain. It is about understanding the shared humanity beneath every story. It is the quiet recognition that suffering lives within all of us, and that every act of harm is born from confusion, fear, or the absence of love. As you sit in stillness, bring your awareness to your heart. Feel its steady pulse, the rhythm that has carried you through every experience, every joy, every sorrow, every silence. This heart has been both wounded and resilient, both broken and whole. It knows pain, yet it also knows love. Allow yourself to feel its strength now. Imagine a soft light glowing within it, a warmth that grows with every breath. This is compassion awakening inside you, the gentle presence that does not judge, does not condemn, but simply understands. When we look at those who have hurt us through the lens of compassion, we begin to see beyond their actions. We see their pain, their fears, their conditioning. We realize that people act out of the level of awareness they possess at that moment. A person who causes pain is often someone who is deeply disconnected from their own heart. And in that recognition, something shifts inside of you. The walls of resentment begin to soften. You stop asking, "Why did this happen to me?" and instead begin to wonder, "What can this teach me about love?" Compassion does not mean you have to allow the same behavior again. It does not mean you must return to what wounded you. Compassion is an inner act. It is about freeing yourself from hatred so that love can flow once more. It is about releasing the need to punish and instead choosing to understand. The mind may resist this, whispering that compassion is weakness, that it makes you vulnerable. But the truth is the opposite. Compassion is the highest expression of strength. It takes far greater courage to open your heart than to keep it closed. Take another breath, and as you exhale, imagine releasing the armor around your heart. You don't need to protect yourself from love. You don't need to guard yourself from peace. What you are protecting yourself from no longer exists. It is only a memory. Now imagine standing before the person or situation that once caused you pain. You don't need to speak. You don't need to relive the moment. Simply look through the eyes of compassion. See their soul rather than their behavior. Feel, for a moment, that perhaps they too were lost. Perhaps they too were seeking love in the only way they knew. You may notice a softening within you, a quiet surrender, not of power but of pain. Compassion dissolves the illusion of separation. It reminds you that we are all travelers on the same path, all learning through mistakes and awakenings. When you extend compassion outward, you also receive it inward. The love you send to others reflects back to you, because at the deepest level, there is no difference between giver and receiver. There is only love expressing itself in infinite forms. Let the warmth of compassion spread through your body. Feel it in your chest, your shoulders, your hands. Let it fill you like sunlight touching every shadow. Compassion transforms the energy of pain into light. What once felt like heaviness now becomes an opening. The heart that was once closed begins to bloom again, slowly, delicately, beautifully. It opens not because the past is forgotten, but because it is forgiven. Sometimes, the person who needs your compassion the most is you. You may have blamed yourself for choices made in fear, for words left unsaid, for moments you wish had gone differently. Now is the time to turn that same loving awareness inward. Whisper to yourself, I forgive me. I understand me. I love me. The moment you offer compassion to yourself, a profound shift happens. The energy of guilt transforms into wisdom. The energy of shame turns into tenderness. You begin to see that you, too, were doing your best with what you knew then. As you breathe, feel this self-compassion expanding, merging with the compassion you hold for others. They are not separate. They are the same current of love flowing through all of creation. Compassion reconnects you to the essence of who you are, a being of light, of awareness, of love. Sit quietly in this feeling for a few moments. There is nothing to fix, nothing to change, nothing to prove. The simple act of seeing with compassion is enough to heal. You are no longer bound by the story of pain. You are no longer defined by what happened. You are the presence that can hold it all. The joy, the sorrow, the forgiveness, and the peace. Take a deep breath and let it anchor you in this truth. When compassion becomes your natural state, forgiveness becomes effortless. The heart no longer clings to the past, it simply flows in love. And in that flow, peace arises, not as something you find, but as something you remember. Now, rest in that remembrance, the quiet knowing that love has always been and will always be your truest nature.